Something is brewing in the shadows of hip-hop's Golden Brotherhood. Fans are losing their minds. Just when we thought the legendary collective Black Hippy had faded into nostalgic memories. Kendrick Lamar just dropped a bombshell and nobody saw it coming. It wasn't a press release, it wasn't a tweet, it was far more cryptic. A silent storm hiding in plain sight. During a recent behind-the-scenes clip from Kendrick's Grand National Tour, fans noticed something strange, no, suspicious. A blurry shot of a backstage whiteboard. It's just 5 letters, ABHHR. That's a Black Hippy has returned. Coincidence? Not when you pair it with a leaked voice memo of Kendrick whispering, "It's time to bring it back." For the culture, and that's just the start. Now whispers are turning into roars. Was there a secret studio session with AB Soul in Top Dawg's basement? Did J-Rock walk out mid-recording over creative differences? And where does Schoolboy Q fit into all this? Oh, and the biggest shocker? There are rumors Kendrick confronted TDE founder Punch in a heated argument over loyalty, betrayal, and control. Hold on tight, because what you're about to hear next is unfiltered, uncut, and possibly explosive. The reunion. It might be happening, but not how anyone expected. It all started with a quiet Thursday night in Los Angeles. Kendrick had just wrapped up a private rehearsal for the next leg of his tour when he slipped away from the venue through a side entrance. No security, no entourage, just Kendrick, a hoodie, and a mission. What no one expected was that a grainy paparazzi photo taken outside. A low-key studio in Inglewood would spark one of the biggest storms in hip-hop history. The photo showed Kendrick standing outside the old TDE compound, standing right next. To him, Abyssal, they weren't smiling, they weren't embracing, they were talking. Not just talking, arguing. Body language experts online immediately picked apart the image. Fans speculated about tension, betrayal, unfinished business. Someone even claimed to have heard Abyssal yell, "So after all these years, you just gonna walk away like nothing happened?" Within hours, Black Hippy was trending again. Hashtags like hashtag bring back Black HIPPY and hashtag Kendrick vs AB Soul started popping up. Reddit threads exploded with rumors that a reunion was in the works, and that it was already falling apart before it even began. Behind the scenes, things were boiling. Teed insiders, speaking on condition of anonymity, said that Kendrick had reached out to all 3 members of Black Hippy weeks ago. The message was clear. One last project. One final statement. Not for the charts, not for the fame. For the culture. But not everyone was on board. Schoolboy Q, according to sources, was the most skeptical. "I'm not trying to relive the past," he allegedly told a close friend. "We ain't the same kids no more." Too much went down. But the real shock came from J-Rock. When Kendrick visited him in Watts, hoping for a simple conversation, it quickly turned into a verbal shootout. "So you only come around when you need something?" J-Rock reportedly said, his voice cold. "Where were you when I was in the hospital? When my mom passed? When I was dealing with label drama? Ain't pick up the phone, K-Dot. And now you want to talk unity?" Kendrick, usually the calmest voice in the room, didn't back down. He fired back with a chilling response. "I didn't call you then because I was drowning too. You think you were the only one bleeding?" The argument lasted nearly 30 minutes. Neighbors heard yelling. One even claimed to see Kendrick slam the door on his way out. But something had shifted. Kendrick wasn't walking away this time. He was determined. Meanwhile, Abyssal seemed caught in the middle. During an Instagram live session, a fan asked him about the rumors. He paused, looked off camera, and just said, "Sometimes the past calls you back. You either answer or keep running." And then came the leaked dot. A mysterious 30-second clip appeared online, which was audio, low quality, but clear enough. Kendrick Ab-Soul, a beat that sounded eerily like something off the Control System album. And in the background, a voice that sounded unmistakably like Schoolboy Q, laughing before dropping a verse. Fans went wild, but Teed They were silent until a cryptic tweet from Punch, the label's co-president. No words, just a photo of a burning bridge. Fans interpreted it in 100 different ways. Some said it meant the reunion was dead. Others believed it was a metaphor, burning the old to build the new. But behind that tweet was a deeper truth. According to an assistant producer who worked with Teed in the early days, Punch and Kendrick had fallen out long before Kendrick left the label. It wasn't just creative differences, it was personal. Was a night back in 2020, the source claimed. Kendrick showed up at the studio unannounced. He and Punch were in the conference room for over an hour, screaming. I heard Kendrick say, "You used me. All of you used me." And then he left, and he never came back. Now, with rumors of a Black Hippy revival, old wounds were being ripped open, and not everyone was ready to face them. Yet the fans, they were hungry. A fan-made music video using old clips of the four members quickly hit 1 million views on YouTube. Petitions started circulating. Radio DJs began teasing a massive West Coast announcement coming soon. The pressure was mounting, and that's when the second incident happened. During a surprise appearance at a private birthday party for Isaiah Rashad, Kendrick was approached by Schoolboy Q, according to several witnesses. What started as a friendly moment turned into something far more intense. One fan claimed to hear Q say, "Don't act like this is about unity. This is about guilt." Kendrick reportedly went silent. Then he turned to Q and said, "Maybe guilt is what we need. Maybe guilt is what brings us back." The tension could be felt through the room. Zaya tried to defuse the moment by pulling Q away, but the damage was done. Ugh. The whispers had turned into roars. Something was happening, and it wasn't going to be clean. As the days passed, more clues began to surface. A private plane was spotted leaving Los Angeles, supposedly carrying Kendrick and Absol to New York. A studio session was booked at Electric Lady Studios under a fake name. Insiders leaked that 2 tracks had already been recorded, one titled Unfinished Prayers and another simply named Brothers. But the biggest twist was still to come. Just as fans were beginning to believe the reunion was real, a leaked group text thread surfaced on X, formerly Twitter. It showed messages between Kendrick, Q, Soul, and Rock. Most of the messages were short and vague. But one stood out, from J-Rock. "If we doing this, we doing it raw. No filters, no forgiveness, just truth." And Kendrick's reply, "Truth is all I've got left." What no one realized was that those words would soon ignite a chain reaction that neither fans nor the crew could prepare for. The fallout from that group text leak was immediate and brutal. Blogs, hip-hop news pages, and fan accounts went into overdrive. Within an hour, the phrase, "Truth is all I got left," was trending worldwide. But what fans didn't know was that behind the scenes, Kendrick had already taken the next step, and it would leave the entire Teed family divided just 2 days after the leak. Kendrick invited AB Soul, Schoolboy Q, and J-Rock to a private location in Malibu. No press, no entourage, just the 4 of them, 1 studio and a storm brewing. The session was supposed to be a chance to clear the air, to talk, to write, to heal. But from the very beginning, things took a dark turn. A source who claimed to be present at the meeting told us that Q walked in late, already irritated. "I knew this was a waste of time," he reportedly said, tossing his phone on the table. J-Rock didn't even respond. Key just sat there, arms crossed, eyes locked on Kendrick. Soul, always the peacemaker, tried to break the tension. "Look, we don't have to be best friends," he said. "But we owe it to ourselves to finish what we started." Kendrick nodded slowly. "This isn't about charts. This is about legacy." J-Rock finally spoke. "Nah, legacy don't mean nothing if you left us in the dirt." A silence followed, thick, uncomfortable. And then Kendrick stood up. "I left because I couldn't breathe. I was suffocating in a system that turned my voice into their paycheck." "You think I left you?" "I was trying to save myself." Q leaned forward. So now you want to come back and act like the hero. No, Kendrick said quietly. I want to come back and make peace with the villain I became. It was raw, it was honest, but it wasn't enough. Later that night, IB-Soul went live again. Something he rarely does. His face looked tired. When a fan asked if the Black Hippy reunion was happening, he hesitated before replying. There's a lot of pain in that room, he said, but sometimes pain makes the best music. Fans clung to that. It gave hope. But what they didn't know was that behind the hope, things were unraveling faster than ever. Someone leaked an audio recording from the Malibu session. In it, you could hear J-Rock raising his voice. You left me with nothing, Kenny, nothing. And now you come back with this righteous energy, talking about legacy. Where was that energy when I needed a verse? Where was that energy when I was dropped from promo runs? And they told me I was just a street rapper while you got the Pulitzer. Kendrick replied, his voice almost breaking. Do you think I didn't fight for you? You think I didn't beg them to put you front and center? J-Rock snapped. You were the center. The audio cut off there, but the damage was done. Fans were divided. Some blamed Kendrick for abandoning his brothers. Others saw J-Rock's pain as the fallout of a machine that chews up even its brightest stars. But the biggest twist had end. T hit yet. 1 week later, during a surprise guest appearance at HAS set at Lollapalooza. Kendrick walked on stage and delivered a short freestyle. It was cryptic, poetic, emotional. But one line sent shockwaves through the industry. 4 hearts, 1 beat, 3 scars, 1 retreat. The crowd erupted. The internet exploded. And just an hour later, IB-Soul posted a photo of the 4 of them. Not recent, but an old photo from the early days. They were laughing, wild, full of life. The caption read, "We were gods before we knew the cost." Felt like a farewell. But was it? Sources claim that later that same night, Kendrick returned to the studio alone and recorded a song titled "Truth Is All I Got Left." Insiders who heard the track described it as a confession, a musical apology, raw, no hooks. Just bars. Bars about loyalty, fame, brotherhood, and the guilt of watching people you love fade into the background while the spotlight blinds you. He allegedly rapped, "I see the pain in your silence. The years in your eyes, I walked through your fire. While you watched me rise, I ain't proud of the distance, ain't proud of the wins. What's a Pulitzer Prize if I'm losing my friends?" This song hasn't been released, but its existence is now part of the myth, the story of 4 kings torn apart by success, ego, and the cruel machinery of fame. Meanwhile, rumors swirled that Schoolboy Q was preparing to drop a diss track aimed at Kendrick. Titled "No More Masks," it allegedly featured Q calling out Kendrick's holier-than-thou energy and accusing him of trying to fix a brotherhood he broke with silence. But in a surprise move, Q took to Instagram and denied it. No diss. "Not now, not ever," he wrote. "We family, even when we ain't speaking." That post changed everything. It was the first real sign that maybe, just maybe, the wounds weren't too deep to heal. Fans flooded the comments with heart emojis, Black Hippy quotes and prayers for a reunion. And then came the biggest twist yet. A new flyer appeared online. No announcement, no explanation. Just a black and white photo of the original Teed cipher dated August 26th. The location: Compton, the event. Listed only as Project 4. Immediately, people speculated this was it. The reunion, a one-night-only secret performance. But those close to the group weren't so sure. One insider said they're meeting that night. But it ain't a show, it's a reckoning. What does that mean? No one knows. But behind closed doors, tensions are rising. Fans are digging through old lyrics, searching for clues. Is Project for an album, a documentary? Or is it just a final conversation between 4 men who used to be brothers? Kendrick, in a private interview with a small podcast, left things intentionally vague. "Sometimes healing looks like music, sometimes it don't," he said. Sometimes it's just telling the truth and letting the world judge. The interviewer asked if the world would hear the truth. Kendrick smiled. They already are. They just don't know it yet. August 26th arrived like a thunderstorm in waiting. The day felt heavy. Something was in the air, and fans across the country were holding their breath. Project 4 had now taken on a life of its own. Outside the Compton address listed on the flyer, a crowd began to form early in the morning. No one knew exactly what was going to happen. Was it a pop-up performance? A reunion? Confrontation? All people knew was that for names Kendrick, Ab-Soul, Schoolboy Q, and J-Rock were attached. And that meant something big was coming, inside the warehouse-like venue. It wasn't a stage that was set up. Was a circle. No lights, no cameras. Just for chairs, for microphones. And one rule, no management. No labels, just them, a close. Associate later described the scene as therapy meets battle rap. Each member took a seat. For a moment, no one spoke. Then J-Rock, who had kept the most rage bottled up, broke the silence. "We built this together," he said, his voice low. "But we didn't bleed together." Kendrick stared at the floor. "I know I failed you," he replied, "but I never stopped believing in us." Schoolboy Q leaned back in his chair. "This ain't about belief. It's about accountability." Ab-Soul, always the philosopher, nodded. "Belief without accountability is just fantasy. And we've been living in one for too long." The conversation was real, raw. But unlike the last time they sat together, something had shifted. This wasn't a battle. It was a reckoning. Just like the insider said, Kendrick opened up in ways the public had never seen. "I spent years in silence thinking that would protect us," he said. "But silence just builds walls. And I built a fortress around myself. But y'all were still outside, screaming to get in." J-Rock wasn't quick to forgive. "You could have brought the whole game back to our doorstep. Instead, you moved the doorstep to Switzerland." Kendrick didn't flinch, and it was cold out there too. "I was alone. I missed the old days. The studio battles, the jokes, the hunger. But I didn't know how to say that without sounding." Fake Schoolboy Q finally spoke again, his voice cracked with emotion. "We all got egos. I ain't perfect either. But I watched the world treat you like God, and we became your shadows. Even when we stood next to you." Ab-Soul leaned in. "But you know what? I don't want to be a shadow. I want to be part of the sun." That line struck a nerve. All four of them went silent again. It was heavy, emotional, but it was honest. And that honesty was the seed for something new. What happened next has already gone down in hip hop folklore. Someone no one knows who pressed record. For the next 3 hours, the four of them freestyled. Not about money, not about fame, but about pain, resentment, brotherhood, and everything in between. Kendrick rapped, left the label, but the label never left me. Found peace in the silence. But the silence still stressed me. I see Rock's pain, feel Q's flame, and Soul the only one that kept us all sane. Schoolboy Q followed with, "I popped bottles, but I bottled up hate. Watching the world crown you while I wait. Felt like your brother, but treated like bait. Like I was the warm-up before you made fate." Ab-Soul, with tears in his eyes. "Spit. We were prophets, but prophet turned us to ghosts. Had the same dreams, but not the same hosts. I prayed for y'all even when you ain't prayed back. And I held this crew together like a faded 8-track. Then J-Rock stood. And what he said wasn't a verse, was real. I got shot. I almost died. I saw my own blood soak the streets while y'all were in Europe doing press. I ain't mad no more. I'm tired. Tired of waiting for something that ain't human. But maybe this, right? Here's what needed to happen. Maybe this is the track we never recorded." The others stood too. No one clapped, no one cheered. It was sacred when they left that night. They didn't say goodbye. They just nodded at each other. No contracts, no announcements. Just something unspoken, a moment of alignment. But outside, the story had already begun writing itself. A fan somehow got audio from the freestyle session and uploaded a 45-second clip titled The Black Hippy Confession. In it, all four voices could be heard, layered like a time capsule of pain. The video racked up 10 million views in 48 hours. Then, the impossible happened. Top Dog himself, the elusive founder of Teed, posted on his usually dormant account. Was a simple message: it ain't over, they ain't done. The industry lost its mind. Music blogs speculated a new Black Hippy project was secretly being produced. Vinyl mock-ups circulated. Conspiracy theories about studio bookings, merged tours, and reunion documentaries began to trend. But for Kendrick, it wasn't about any of that. He was spotted alone at a church in Compton 2 nights later, sitting in the back pew. When asked by a fan what he was praying for, he replied quietly, "Clarity." Schoolboy Q, meanwhile, returned to his studio and posted a snippet of a new track. The lyrics hinted at healing. "We ain't brothers by blood, we brothers by choice," screamed at each other. Now we find in a voice. This ain't about rap, this ain't about sound, this about picking up what we dropped on the ground. Abyssal shared a photo of a blank notebook. The caption, Chapter 2. J-Rock, who had remained the quietest post-meeting, finally posted something to an old photo of all four of them in the back of a van on tour, laughing. He wrote, "You don't always need a studio to make history. Sometimes you just need a van and the right people in it." The fans were left reeling. It was no longer just about a reunion album. It was about the story, the history, the fractures, the friendship. And the real question was no longer, are they getting back together? It was, after everything, should they? As one fan put it online, we wanted music. But now we just want them to be okay. The final chapter in The Black Hippy. Storm wasn't written in a studio or on a stage. Began in a quiet living room in Gardena, inside Abyssal's modest home. The crew had been invited not for a meeting, not for a verse, but for a simple dinner. No assistants. No social media. Just for men, a table full of food, and more history than they knew what to do with. Kendrick arrived first. Abyssal greeted him with a nod, then embraced him tightly. No words were needed. Schoolboy Q pulled up minutes later, hoodie up, face unreadable. J-Rock, the last to arrive, hesitated at the door for a full minute before finally walking in. They sat down to eat like they used to years ago, before tours, before awards, before the egos swallowed their friendship whole. Laughter returned in small doses, then in waves. Memories spilled out between bites. The time Soul forgot his verse on. Stage and freestyled the entire set. The night Q almost fought. A fan over a bootleg CD. And the infamous studio argument that led to Collard Greens being rewritten in under an hour. It was nostalgic. Healing, but it didn't fix everything. And no one pretended it would dot later. That night, Soul dimmed the lights and played a voice note on his phone. It was from Mac Miller. It's recorded years ago. It was a message meant for all of them. Mac's voice was soft, almost haunting. "Yo, y'all don't even realize what you are. You ain't a group. You're a damn element. When people hear you together, it's not just music, it's like hearing truth for the first time." Everyone went silent. Then Q wiped his eyes and muttered, "I hate when he write." Kendrick leaned forward. "Then let's do it. Not for charts, not for clout, just for him, for us." J-Rock didn't respond immediately. He just stared at the floor, then finally said, "If we do this, we do it raw. No label politics, no execs. We own every word, every beat. ABCL added, and it ain't gotta be an album. It can be whatever we want." That was the beginning, but it wasn't smooth sailing. 2 weeks later, they booked a private cabin in Big Bear to begin working. No Wi-Fi, no distractions, just gear, notebooks, and beats. What was meant to be a 3-day session turned into 7. And what started as brainstorming soon turned into emotional breakdowns, bitter arguments, and brutal honesty on day 3. Q reportedly walked out after Kendrick made a comment about how fame changed him. "You think I got soft? Ah, bro. I just got tired of fighting every damn day," Q yelled. "You left and started acting like a monk while we were here, still bleeding." Kendrick followed him outside. The argument continued on the porch, loud, messy, emotional, but then came silence, and then a handshake. And then, eventually, Music.J-Rock opened up too. During a beat session, he looked at Kendrick and said, "I hated you. Not 'cause you left, but 'cause you never looked back." Kendrick didn't flinch this time. "I looked back every day. I just didn't know how to come home," Ibisol, sitting nearby, said quietly, "Sometimes coming home hurts more than leaving." From that moment on, the energy shifted. They started recording. Real verses, nothing polished, nothing filtered. Just raw stories. A track called Ashes emerged. First, it was about death. Not physical death, but the death of trust, brotherhood, and ego. Soul's verse hit hardest. "Watched the crew turn to statues frozen in time. Each word we ain't speaking was a silent crime. We ain't die. We just stopped breath in the same." And the silence grew louder than fame. Then came Reunion. A song that wasn't even structured. It was a conversation over a beat. No hooks, just talking. About old times. About regrets. About what they wish they'd said years ago. Kendrick's voice cracked in one moment. "I should have called when your daughter was born, Q. I should have said I was proud of you, Rock. I should have told you, Soul, that you were the glue." Track ended with J-Rock simply saying, "I hear you now." When they returned from Big Bear, they didn't have a complete album. They didn't even have a plan. But what they had was something they hadn't felt in years: trust. That's when Teed got involved. Top Dog himself called a meeting. Not to claim credit, not to own the project, but to give them his blessing. "You built this label," he told them, "and if you need my name off it to move forward, take it off. Just do it your way." For the first time, there were no politics, no contracts, just support. Word began to leak. Fans started noticing subtle signs. Kendrick wore an old Black Hippy hoodie during a pop-up performance. Q's new single artwork featured 4 shadows under a single streetlight. Ibisol tweeted, "A date November 17th with no context." J-Rock deleted every post on his page except one: "Forgive. Record, release." Then came the confirmation. On Kendrick's birthday, a 10-minute video dropped on YouTube. Titled "For the Record," it was shot documentary style. Black and white. No music. Just the 4 of them in that same circle from the Malibu meeting, sharing memories, tears, and truths. Q spoke first. "We almost lost it. Not just the music, the bond." Full followed. "But sometimes you gotta lose the light to realize who's been standing in the dark with you." J-Rock looked at the camera. "This ain't no comeback. This is a correction." And then Kendrick ended it. "Black Hippy was never about music. It was about truth. And this is ours. No release date, no album name, no streaming links. Just silence. And that silence was louder than any beat. Fans reacted instantly. The internet broke. Artists from J. Cole to Tyler praised them for choosing the story over the sales. It wasn't a rollout. It was a rebirth. In the weeks that followed, they didn't rush. They let it breathe. They met weekly, writing, reflecting. Each session built trust, verse by verse. And while no one knows if a full album will ever drop, what they've created is something more powerful than music-reconciliation. And so, the question that started it all, as Kendrick Lamar hinting at a Black Hippy reunion, has its answer. He didn't hint, he healed. But whether the world gets a track, a mixtape, or just memories, One thing is now clear: the Brotherhood is no longer broken. And that might be the most powerful comeback of all. And just like that, the silence became the message. After years of rumors, tension, and emotional distance, Black Hippy didn't just tease a comeback, they gave us something far more rare: vulnerability. It's the kind you don't often see in the music industry. The kind that reminds us these aren't just artists, they're people. Flawed, complicated, proud, and healing. Maybe there will be an album, maybe there won't. But in a world obsessed with quick hits and viral moments, Kendrick Lamar, Schoolboy Q, J-Rock, and A.B. Soul have shown us something timeless: rebuilding. Trust takes more courage than recording hits. And if this journey leads to just one track, one verse, or even one honest moment between four brothers, then maybe that's more powerful than any chart-topping reunion ever could be. But now we turn it over to you. Do you think Black Hippy is back for real? Or is this just a beautiful ending to a messy chapter? Was Kendrick right to walk away when he did? Or should he have stayed and fought for the crew back then? We want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. No holding back. Hoping for a full album? A tour? Or are you just grateful they've found their way back to each other, even if it's just for a moment? And don't forget, if you love deep stories like this one, packed with drama, secrets, and music legends, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because the next twist in the hip-hop world could drop any second. And when it does, you'll want to be here for all the tea. This is your front row seat to the drama behind the legends. Stay locked in. Until next time, stay real, stay curious, and stay legendary. Legendary.